to share a little bit about how we got started. We started with a trio. We were going to do a pair, but it's a lot better if you start with 1 buck and 2 does. We started with Holland Lops, and I'll show you one of my favorite little buddies over here. This is Mr. Shinzo. He is a purebred Holland Lop and sweet as pie. He's actually my only Holland right now besides his sons. I did keep 2 of his sons because he is so sweet. And their personalities do pass on. I have definitely seen that carry on through their offspring. Hey, sweet pie. Then I would start with 2 does, because the smaller you keep it as you're learning, the easier it is to manage. We actually started with them inside, and they had I potty trained them, let them have run of the house once they were potty trained. And it's easy to do that with 3, because then you can keep it nice and tidy. This is my girl. Hey, sweetie. She's a little more shy, but she is one of my does, Holland Lop does. So I started with 1 buck and 2 does, and each breed has their own time of when they're actually ready to breed. So for Hollands, no earlier than 6 months, and I still will kind of watch them to make sure they're healthy and good form and they're filled out well. If you wait too long, sometimes it will be harder for them to breed. So I like to start about 6 months, as long as they look good and healthy. Really familiar with you, so you shouldn't get them earlier than 8 weeks. So you can find a trio for 8 weeks old and older. Then keep them separate, all in their own area. I don't keep the girls together because at some point they start to get territorial. And then of course the buck by himself, because they can reproduce before 6 months and it's not good for them. So I would get 3 babies. This is what we did. Got 3 babies and let them raise and love on them and get them familiar with you. And we used to do Binks box, so they'd get treats every week and little toys. Hey, but I'm really careful with their toys, because some of the toys will come with color on them and different inks, and you don't want your bunny chewing on that. So I would pick all the natural stuff and then get them comfortable with kids and animals. And because when people start to buy your babies, they're going to want to know that they're very socialized. But so then as we grew, we decided to start creating an outside area. My husband's built most of our stuff, but we try to keep the cages nice and spacious. The Hollands are easier because they're smaller, so their space they'll have run. And then exercise is really important. We have play pens that we use for exercise, and we keep them in the shade because outside, especially in Florida, it doesn't take much for the sun to really be hard on them. So here we make sure all of our area is in the shade. We have fans going, especially in the heat of summer. Fans going, cooling ice cubes and cooling plates. Ice water bottles. We'll freeze water bottles and switch them out a couple times a day. So if you're going to do outdoor, temperature is a huge deal. So make sure to be getting keeping them at a good temperature. Buddies are actually wonderful. They're friendly, and so as long as you socialize them, they're friendly and have sweet personalities. And I think the bucks are actually more friendly. They are greater for pets. A lot of people will ask me if I have any girls, do I have any girls, and they are not actually the friendlier ones. I do have sweet does, but I'd say like a good amount of my does, when they get breeding age, they get hormonal, because that's just natural for them to want to breed, so they get territorial. And occasionally you'll get one that will even lunge and bite, and you don't want that. And I do not breed those because, like I said, personality does continue on. Why? What's your breeding rabbits for? When we started, we were just kind of learning, and so we had a lot of just pet rabbits, and we kept the how many breedings very small, because you want to make sure that everyone has a loving home. Every rabbit that comes from you has a loving home. She is sweet as pie and an amazing mother. What the particular rabbit needed. One of them liked to be in a little carrier just to sleep, and his potty box would fit in there. And then I would give him a playpen so that he could come out and run, and then whenever I was home and could supervise, he was be able to run the living room. Some of the other ones who maybe weren't as great as potty training, I would get them a big cage and then a playpen on top of that. Now we have an outdoor setup for each one, my husband built it, and they have nice big wood, hardwood, and it's not moving. So when storms come and all that, I feel good about them not being them being safe. And then exercise and a playpen, very important. A coastal hay, and so they do like this one. Sometimes they'll be picky and they won't like the hay we get when it's the horse hay, but they always love Timothy. So that's going to be 70% of what they eat. And then I give them a good quality pellet, non-GMO. I like to have ones that have herbs in it. We use Nature's Crest Tucker Milling. Our local feed store keeps that in stock pretty well. And then on weekends, one time a week, I'll give them fresh greens. Fresh greens, they actually can have more. I like to give them kale and romaine mostly. And then for treats, I'll let them try them on Saturdays. Slice of carrot, bell pepper. There's a whole list of what's safe for them. And they love like little bites of berries. So, and I only give that in small bouts so that they are not overloaded with their stomach. Because rabbits' stomachs are extremely sensitive. So I hope you enjoy.